Hey everyone, I'm really excited to show you this project today. I'm taking two of Beaducation's most popular items and soldering them together. We're going to use the circle blank ring and the little moon solderable shapes, but remember Beaducation has a ton of different shapes and materials and solderables for you to use. I'm going to show you how to use a butane torch to sweat solder that teeny little moon right onto that ring. So you know what, without further ado, let's get started. I'm all set up here to solder my little moon onto this ring that I've already stamped. I have the ring here in a third hand, which is a super awesome a little assister when soldering. Quench bowl, some handy flux. This is a solder pick, tweezers, and this is a charcoal block. And then we're going to use this wacky tool. This is a nylon ring bending plier to shape our moon. I've prepped 3 little pallions of easy solder in wire form here on the charcoal block. Everything is on top of a non-combustible work surface, and I'm wearing safety glasses. The first thing we're going to do is shape this moon. And the reason that is that when you solder, we need the 2 pieces to completely touch. And right now this is flat and your ring is rounded. So to illustrate here, I'm going to put it on my finger just to show you. This is how I want the little moon to be orientated on my ring. So I can visualize that I need the curve to go this way, right? So keep that in mind. I'm going to bring in the nylon ring bending pliers here. And this little moon is quite small, so bear with me. I might use the tweezers if I'm going to take the little moon and I'm going to put it face down in the frowny, that's what I call this part, portion of the plier, just like that. You see that? I'm going to use my tweezers just to make sure I get it nice and square in there. And then I'm just going to squeeze the pliers. These are pretty slick because the nylon doesn't mar the metal, so you can really, really squeeze quite hard. Open that up. There it is. So now we've given just a little curve to this moon, and that's going to help when we lay the 2 pieces together. As you saw before, I have the ring clasped in a third hand, and I just want to talk to you about this for a second. See how I have a small portion of the bottom part of the ring between the tweezers nose there? This is how I want you to set up your ring. If you were to do this, the tweezers become a heat sink, and they're going to steal away all the heat that you put on with your torch, and your solder won't flow successfully. So just make sure that when you clasp the ring in the tweezers, you orientate it this way. Now I'm going to use a soldering technique called sweat soldering to solder the little moon to the top of this ring. Now what that means is I'm going to pre-flow a little bit of solder onto the back of that little moon, and then take that little piece and transfer it to the ring, and then reflow that solder. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of flux to the area on the ring where I'm going to add the moon. I should add, there's like a little black dot over here you probably see. That's a little bit of Sharpie that I used to give me a little guidance when I stamped that little star there, so that's what that is. And then I'm going to add flux to, this moon is so tiny, feel free to use a tweezers to flux that. I may have had too much coffee this morning. There we go. Now I'm going to strike my torch. Using a butane torch today with a fairly small flame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in over here to the little moon, and I'm going to kind of preheat it. So in the fluffy part of the flame, which is out here, I'm just going to kind of warm the moon just a little bit. The flux is going to puff up a little bit and then drop down. When it drops down, I'm going to stop. Pick up a little pallion of solder, place it on top of the moon. Oh, my tweezers have some moisture on them. There we go. Wrangle that solder there. So now there's that little pallion on top of the moon. I'm going to bring in my heat and just in little circles slowly bring that little moon up to temperature. Be nice and gentle with your heat. There's no reason to go in fast and furious here. Just nice and slow. Keeping our eye on that flux. Once the flux goes shiny, we know that that's go time and our solder is about to flow. There it goes. So once it flows, just make sure to back out right away. And bring the ring in here. Now I'm going to preheat this ring a little bit by just doing the same things, just some nice circles with your heat. There goes the flux puffing up, and there it kind of starts to get a little shiny. I'm going to pull out here and turn the torch off, because now I'm going to come in, I'm going to lay my little moon down on my ring. Don't worry if whatever you're soldering picked up a little bit of debris from see how I have a little charcoal on the moon? No big deal. That'll come out in the pickle pot. Just gonna lay this right down on the piece. I like things to get, I like things pretty particular, some may say, so I'm gonna take the time here to get this exactly how I want it. And this is good to show you that these, laying things out, take your time. There we go. Now that I have the moon in place, I'm going to strike the torch and heat the ring. Now, keep in mind you're soldering something very small onto something that's quite a bit larger than it. So we're going to focus most of our heat on that circle part of the ring. But with that said, remember, you have to heat the whole piece. And bring it up to temperature. Try not to focus all of your heat on the moon. I'm going to keep my pick in my dominant hand here. You see it over on the right side of the screen there. And that's just in case my moon decides to move on me. I can boss it back into place. So I'm just going to heat in circles here. Remember, being in the fluffy part of the flame, far away from that aqua cone. Watch that flux. See how it's nice and shiny and glossy? So we know the metal has come up to temperature. I'm going to work in circles, and then I'm going to do what I call feathering the moon to get that solder to flow. And you know what? It went. I could see it here. I'm just going to heat it for one more second to make sure that it ran completely all the way under. There it goes. All right. That is it. The next step is actually one of my students' favorite things to do, which is to quench the ring. So I say wait 5 to 10 seconds, and then you're going to take your little ring. Keep in mind this is very hot. And you're going to submerge it in water. And everyone really likes the sound. So now we quench it. Once the piece has been quenched, it is good to go and you can just touch it right away. So here is what we call the beauty shot. It's not quite beautiful yet. We will pickle this now. But here we are, we've got the moon soldered down with a little star, and then I used our degree stamp all the way around the band. So like I said, I'm going to put this in the pickle with in the pickle pot with the pickle. It's going to clean off all these oxides. Then I can patina and polish, and it's going to be beautiful. I use liver of sulfur to apply this dark patina all over the ring. You can use whatever patina you would like. And then I made sure to thoroughly dry it because we're going to use pro polish pads, and they really don't like to be wet. If you aren't familiar with pro polish pads yet, they're pretty magical. They're a micro abrasive pad that has polishing compound impregnated in them, so while you rub the piece, it's actually buffing and polishing it all at the same time, which is why I call it magic. One little quick note, I did use liver of sulfur versus the quick and dirty Sharpie method, and that's because this is a finger ring and we wash our hands a whole lot, you know, so this ring will see water and soap quite often, and Sharpie's not permanent. So I always recommend using liver of sulfur or some other permanent patina when making rings. And really, this is all you do. You just rub, rub, rub. I'm going to toss that one aside. I like to leave the shadow around the moon. I'm not going to get in there and, you know, get really particular because I like the little contrast there. See that? And then I'm going to clean up the inside of the ring. You can take the Pro Polish pad and kind of roll it up. Sometimes I take a corner. Getting these side edges of the ring. So now I'm just going to check, see if there are any areas. I want to clean up the face just a little bit more. Thanks so much for watching my class. I really appreciate it. And for you folks on YouTube, remember you can leave a comment below if you have any questions. Give us a thumbs up if you like the class, and please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thanks.